In a world of social media filters, AI-generated content, and constant pressure to curate the perfect online presence, finding your authentic self has never been more challenging or more important. We're living in an age where it's easier to create a digital avatar than to face who we really are. But here's the thing, true success, genuine relationships, and real happiness only come when you're being authentically you. I learned this the hard way. After years of trying to fit into different molds, the successful business owner, the social media influencer, the person who supposedly has it all figured out, I finally realized that the only person I needed to be was myself. Simple in theory, surprisingly difficult to practice. So this guide isn't your typical self-help fluff. It's a practical roadmap for uncovering who you really are based on real experiences and proven strategies that actually work in 2025's changing landscape. Whether you're feeling lost in your career, struggling with your identity, or just sensing that there's more to life than what you're currently experiencing, this guide will help you navigate the journey to authenticity. Think of finding your authentic self like archaeology. It's not about creating something new, but rather carefully uncovering what's already there, hidden under layers of societal expectations, childhood conditioning, and those TikTok trends you thought you needed to follow. We'll dig through these layers together using both time-tested wisdom and modern approaches that make sense in today's world. So let's explore the 6 essential steps that will help you uncover your true self, from the challenging but crucial practice of isolation to the liberating process of embracing your shadow self, which are words that I'll get into. Step 1, get comfortable being uncomfortable. The power of isolation. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room, which is a quote by Blaise Pascal, a philosopher. So first things first, you need to spend some quality time with yourself. And no, scrolling through TikTok while sitting alone does not count. I am talking about real isolation here. Turn off your phone, step away from Netflix, and just exist. Let's be real, this part is going to suck at first. Your brain will do everything it can to convince you to grab that phone or turn on that TV. It's like when you're on a diet and suddenly every food commercial looks like it was personally crafted to torture you. But you gotta stick with it. Start with just 30 minutes a day. Find a quiet spot, could be your room, a park, even your car. Parked, obviously. We're trying to find ourselves, not lose ourselves in a traffic accident. The key is to create what I call a thought sanctuary. It's like a mental gym where instead of lifting weights, you're lifting layers of societal programming off your mind. The journey through isolation follows a pretty predictable pattern. In the first few days, your brain throws a tantrum like a toddler who's been told that they can't have candy. Then around day 4 to 7, you start noticing just how many random thoughts pop into your head. And trust me, it's a lot. By week 2, something very magical happens. You begin to distinguish between your authentic thoughts and those you've absorbed from others. And by week 3, you're having actual conversations with yourself that don't make you feel like you've lost your marbles. This was something that I was always good at doing, and I found it bizarre when I realized that other people could not do this. It really is a superpower, and this extends to basically all your chores and all the errands you have to do around your house. You don't need a video playing while you wash the dishes, and the TV does not need to be on while you are doing any chore. Cultivating this skill is incredibly freeing. Step 2, break free from your hometown. Look, I love a good hometown story as much as the next person, but sometimes you gotta spread those wings. Your hometown is like that comfy old sweatshirt. It feels nice, but it might be holding you back from finding that new snazzy jacket called personal growth. And honestly, this is what helped me level up in multiple phases of my life. First, I went from college at Indiana University to a big city, Chicago, for medical school. New routines, new friends, means new habits. Now, in the last few years, I went from Chicago to Denver. I didn't know anyone, and moving essentially allows you to reinvent yourself. If you can't physically leave, because let's face it, rent prices are wild these days, at least try changing up your environment. Start with your physical space. Think of it as Marie Kondoing your entire life. Rearrange your living space, create a dedicated thinking spot away from distractions, and just switch up your daily routines. Take different streets to work or the gym. Try a new coffee shop, and discover hidden corners of your city that you've never explored before. Your social environment needs just as much attention as your physical one. Think of your friend circle like a garden. Some relationships need pruning, others need nurturing, and sometimes you need to plant new seeds altogether. And with this, really focus on quality over quantity, and don't be afraid to join new communities that align with your interests. The key is to have real conversations instead of just staying stuck in comfortable quicksand of small talk, which we all kind of hate anyway. The most challenging environment to change is the one in between your ears. Question your default responses to situations. Challenge those inherited beliefs. Just because your family has always done something a certain way doesn't mean that is the only way. You should also examine your relationship with social media and ask yourself whether it's serving you or stressing you out. Create new morning and evening routines that reflect who you want to become, not who you've always been. It's really that simple, but easier said than done, I get it. Step 3, face your shadow self, which is very spooky, I know. So we all have parts of ourselves we'd rather pretend did not exist, like that time you try to cut your own bangs or your entire emo kid phase that we all may have had. But here's the thing, Those cringe moments, they are part of who you are. Instead of running from them, learn from them. Your shadow self isn't just about embarrassing memories, it's about acknowledging the parts of yourself that you've pushed down because society, family, or friends told you they weren't acceptable. Maybe it's your creative side that got squashed because someone told you that art doesn't pay the bills. Perhaps it's your emotional sensitivity that was labeled as too much, or your ambition that made others uncomfortable. It could even be those random quirky interests that didn't fit the cool kid mold, like my interest in fantasy books when I was growing up. I never told anyone about that. The process of embracing your shadow self starts with honest journaling. Write about those thoughts and feelings that you usually push away. It doesn't have to be too serious. Just sit down and write whatever comes to mind for just a few minutes. Explore why certain memories make you cringe. Often you'll find it's not about the memory itself, but about the judgment you've attached to it. Question where these self-judgments come from. Were they really your own conclusions, or did you inherit them from somewhere else? And again, think about those memories and pretend you are talking to your younger self. What could you learn from those experiences that make you a better adult? And this will allow you to just let go. Start having small conversations about these parts of yourself with some trusted friends as well. You might be surprised to find what you consider your biggest flaws are actually some of your most endearing qualities. Gotta practice some self-compassion here. Yes, even for your teenage self's questionable fashion choices. Step 4. Gotta embrace the suck. Life isn't all sunshine and motivational quotes. Sometimes it's more like a workout. It hurts, you're sweating, and you're questioning all your life choices. But just like a good workout, the discomfort is where the growth actually happens. Embracing the suck means pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone in every aspect of life. Physically, it might mean challenging yourself in workouts or trying something new. Try new physical challenges like fasting or a dreaded cold shower. And just start small. 30 seconds under cold water is plenty to begin with, you brave soul. Mentally, it means putting yourself in situations where you're not the expert. Learn something completely new and be okay with being terrible at it for a while. Have those difficult conversations you've been avoiding. You gotta just face your feels in small, manageable steps. Set and stick to boundaries, even when every fiber of your being wants to give in. The emotional challenges are often the toughest. Instead of reaching for your phone when uncomfortable emotions arise, just sit with them. Practice vulnerability in relationships. Acknowledge and process past hurts instead of burying them under layers of Netflix and chocolate, though a little chocolate never hurt anyone. Express your needs, even when it feels like you're jumping off a cliff without a parachute. And remember, pain is just weakness leaving the body, or in this case, your old self making room for the new you. That sounded way more dramatic than I intended, but you get the point. Step 5, get real with yourself. Those personality tests everyone talks about, they're like GPS for your soul, helpful with navigation, but sometimes you may want to take the more scenic route. Whether it's the Myers-Briggs telling you you're an introvert or the Enneagram test pegging you as a perfectionist, these tools can offer valuable insights into your natural tendencies and core motivations. But the key is to use these tests as conversation starters with yourself, not as permanent labels. Pay attention to what resonates and what does not. Look for patterns across different assessments. Maybe you keep seeing themes of creativity, or perhaps leadership qualities keep popping up. These patterns can be breadcrumbs leading you towards your authentic self. Think of personality tests like trying on clothes in a fitting room. Some things will fit perfectly, others might need some alterations, and some just aren't your style, and that is okay. The goal isn't to fit perfectly into one category, but to understand yourself better through the process of exploration. Step number 6, find your purpose, but don't stress out about it. So here's the plot twist. Finding your purpose isn't about having some grand epiphany while staring at the sunset. It's about doing things that you genuinely enjoy, even when no one is watching. You know, like how you dance in the kitchen when you think no one's home. Pay attention to the activities that make time disappear. It's like those moments when you look up and suddenly realize that hours have passed without you even noticing. Notice what energizes you rather than drains you. What would you do if you weren't getting paid to do it? What topics get you so excited that you find yourself gesturing wildly while talking about them? So try the perfect day visualization. Write down your ideal day in detail, but here's the catch. Just make it a regular Tuesday, not a vacation. Pay attention to what activities you naturally include and what's missing from your current life. Think back to your childhood dreams before the world told you to be realistic. What elements from those dreams still light you up inside? How can you incorporate those elements into your life now? Ask yourself the impact question. If money wasn't an issue, what would you contribute to the world? What problems do you naturally want to solve? What topics get you fired up in conversation? The answers might surprise you, and they might point you towards your genuine purpose. So the final truth, the journey to finding yourself is never really over. It's like those endless runner TikTok games that you see on the internet. There's always more road ahead, but that's actually the beautiful part. You're not trying to reach some final form like a Pokemon evolution. You're just getting better at being you. Maintaining authenticity is a daily practice. It's about checking in with yourself each morning, taking regular breaks from the digital world, maintaining some healthy boundaries, and continuing to learn and grow. It's about having honest conversations with trusted friends who will tell you when you're veering off the course. But remember, being yourself is like pizza. Even when it's not perfect, it's still pretty good. And anyone who doesn't like you for who you are probably prefers pineapple on their pizza anyway. So with that, stay authentic, my friend. And remember, if you ever feel lost, that's just life's way of saying recalculating route. You'll find your way, even if you have to take a few detours first.